Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us here on Priority One. I'm Randy Gardner. We've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about holiday safety. As the holidays are here, and to my right, we have Sergeant Jennifer Williams. Glad you could join us here on the show. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Randy.
Also, to your right, we have Sergeant Tom Naughton. Glad you could join us also.
Thank you.
All right, that time of the year, times when thieves think they have it easy.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about some things that a lot of people, we talk about it every year. We've done it every year for 15 years here on the show. You hear it every night on the news. You read it in the newspaper. But people continually make that same simple mistake. If you had one thing before we get into everything to just let somebody know about overall safety during the holiday season, what would you tell them?
Be aware of their surroundings, being aware and alert, common sense.
As far as maybe carrying something, Tom, in your purse, mace, anything like that, would you advise something like that for somebody during this holiday season? Or is that just another level of maybe preoccupation if something happens?
Well, if you're going to carry anything that you're going to use to defend yourself against an attacker or anything like that, you should be prepared to deal with it and use it. If you're not trained properly or you haven't prepared yourself mentally to use it, it's really not going to do you a whole lot of good, and you might not react the way that you would think you would. And now you've introduced a item like mace or pepper spray, whatever, into the picture, and the bad guys got access to it as well.
As we talk about personal safety, can you be too safe, I guess, when you get out of the car and you're walking? You know, people pop out from under a car, behind a car. I mean, do you walk through the lot looking under every car? I mean, you're advised if I ask you that.
Well, it's not to be paranoid, but to be constantly aware of what is around you and what is going on, where you've parked, who you've parked next to, the time of day, whether or not there's other cars on the parking lot, whether you're the only car on the parking lot. It's just being aware of that. Do you have your keys readily accessible? Do you have your cell phone readily accessible? Are you holding onto your purse? Are you holding onto your diaper bag? Are you holding onto things that you need to be in charge of? But I think that it's not just during the holiday season. I think it's year-round that people need to constantly be on that high alert. Not to be paranoid, but be on high alert.
When we talk on many shows here on the channel, a lot of crimes are just crimes of opportunity, whether the garage door is open during the summer. But during the holiday season, would you say that a lot of the crimes, like against people and the cars, per se, when people steal things out of the car, are they crimes of opportunity, or are people actively sitting in lots kind of watching to see the pattern of when you go in and when you come out?
If I could answer that, I'd say it's both. Obviously, when you are securing your valuables in your car, you need to keep them out of sight. And this is, if it's there and you have someone that is an opportunist, they might just reach in and grab it. If you have someone that's seeking that, they're going to break your window, grab it, reach in and grab it. We suggest if you have to have valuables in your car and you cannot properly conceal them, and you're going to go with the trunk, then you need to do that before you leave your residence. That means if you're going to the gym or if you're going for a walk or you're going someplace, you don't want to get out of the parking lot of the gym and put your purse in the trunk, because there you might have both, either the opportunist or the actual person looking to victimize someone. You do it before you leave your house. If you're coming out of the mall with packages, put them in your trunk before you go to the next place. Don't leave them in your car. Get them out of your car, put them in the trunk, and someone can see that you've just placed them there. Make sure you're locking your doors and setting your alarm on your car. Same with the purses. This is a big one if you're in a mall shopping situation where they have shopping carts, or grocery stores are big for this too, that you get tied up and not watching your items, and instead you're looking at what you're wanting to purchase, and someone could have very easily come by and either stole your purse or your wallet, and you don't even realize it's happened, especially if it's your wallet, until you're checking out. So talk about loss of everything, including your valuable time. And I think Sergeant Naughton can probably expand on the valuables in the car and things that you can do to protect yourself with the vehicles also.
Sarge?
Yeah, if you're going to be, like Sergeant Williams said, out shopping and you have packages and that, she offered a great suggestion, that is, don't do it in front of where people can see you. Moving the packages, put them in there, and just leave your car there. If you have to, drive to the other side of the mall. Just leave the complex altogether and go to another location and, secure your items and come back. One of the other things with other valuables in the car, there's a lot of people that'll leave spare keys and titles even in their cars. If you've left any item whatsoever of interest to a thief in your vehicle, they're going to go through every compartment. They're going to go through your glove box, anything that's in there. If you have spare keys or the valet key or anything in there, you've just now given them the key to your car. So not only will they have your packages, but they'll have your vehicle as well.
What would you say about something as simple as something you use every day, like your garage door opener? You've got to keep that in the car, but again, it's almost like a key into free entry into the house if they can find an address on anything within your car.
Yeah, I think you hit the key right there, is if they find anything that's got your address on there, they do have access to your home's garage now. Simple things, just take the garage door opener out of the vehicle when you're out in a busy shopping mall. It's going to be a little bit inconvenient, but you won't be missing that, and you won't be missing your items and open yourself up to a possible burglary situation.
There are so many times whether I'm at the grocery store or at the mall, that I see women turn and, like you mentioned, Sarge, look at something on the rack and leave their purse totally exposed. And I have physically said to a couple of people that, ma'am, if I was a thief, I could have taken your purse or anything out of your purse in a second. You would have never known.
Right.
And I'm always afraid to kind of say, I kind of really look at the situation because I don't want anybody to go crazy.
Well, they
But
look at you sideways.
I explain that I host a TV show I explain the whole situation. But they go, wow, I didn't even realize that. And they don't. And it only takes 1 second. I mean, it's so visible. And if you're a thief and you're good at this stuff, it can happen like that.
Exactly. As a woman and as a mother and being busy, I will opt to not carry my purse if I can to the grocery store. I'll only have my little change purse with my keys. If I have my purse with me, it's on my shoulder. It's on my person. I do not leave it in the cart. To me, that's not a carrying mechanism for my purse. My shoulder is. So if I can go without it, I go without it. Otherwise, it is on my person at all times. And it gets difficult. I'll take my coat off. In the wintertime, you're bulky. A lot of people, as Sergeant Naughton was saying about them going through cars, if you think you're fooling them with a towel or anything in a car, they know better. That's silly. Same thing with coats and grocery carts or any kind of Walmart cart or Target cart. If you throw your coat on it, that's not necessarily going to be the deterrent. So again, keep your purse with you or don't bring it at all.
And another simple thing, keep it zipped up.
Yes.
That's another thing I see. Purse on the shoulder, wide open. It just takes a little bump and
Absolutely.
wallet is gone. All right. Simple tips as far, Sarge, as when you park in a parking lot. Are there certain places you should park your car, you shouldn't park your car? Advise maybe going shopping at busier times of the day, taking a partner with you to go shopping?
Yeah,
or all of the above?
All of
Check
the
mark.
above, yeah. Check yes for all of the above. It's always a good idea if you're going to be out shopping, and nobody likes the crowds, the long lines and all that. But if you're going to park in a busier parking lot, obviously the more people walking around, the less likely someone is going to try to take an opportunity to make you a victim. Criminals don't like light. They don't like large crowded areas. So you protect yourself, park in well-lit areas during the evening hours or low-light hours. Park close to them, as close as to the shopping center or store that you're going to in a busier area.
What about reporting anything suspicious? A lot of people are afraid to step up. They'll see something, but they don't say anything. Your advice, I mean, you deal with this every day. If somebody walks in the mall, you see somebody maybe sitting in a car that just looks suspicious, report that to the manager? I mean, what's the next step?
I think that a lot of people feel like they're being a nuisance or being a problem by they don't think anything of it, so they're not going to bother us with it. We'd rather hear about it and it be nothing than not hear about it and find out that it was something. So of course, we encourage any kind of behavior that they feel is not normal or is suspicious in some nature, that they report it to the store, who then can choose whether or not to contact the police department, or they can pick up the phone and call the police directly.
What's always the first line that you get? We'll start on both sides, but of someone who has, I guess, the person that theft has taken place from, what's always their first line? I can't believe it's me. I didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, because that's always my mindset. It's not going to happen to me.
I think that we have a lot of self-blame. A lot of people do blame themselves. They don't think it's going to happen to them, and then it does. And And it's extremely inconvenient.
As far as the people that you catch doing these things, is it the same story? Hey, it was a crime of opportunity, easy snag?
It usually we find that the person will have prior history of doing it, and they do similar patterns. They'll hit the same areas, the same type of crime. They'll either break into a car through the glass, or they'll pop the door locks on the car to get in. They use the same method each time, and the stories are pretty much all the same. They're just looking for the quick cash, just looking for the valuable item that they could sell really quick, or pawn, or trade off, and move on.
We talk about this whole concept today at the mall, at the store, at the grocery store, but you have to be aware of your surroundings even when you're at the house. You can take all the precautions you want at the mall, but then you get home and you put your car in the garage with the garage door open and the doors unlocked, or in the driveway with it unlocked. All this goes for naught. Do you see a lot of that craziness?
Absolutely. We probably have, it depends on the time of the year and depends on the neighborhoods, because it kind of rotates, but we do have a lot of cars broken into in different subdivisions. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mall situation. I think during the holidays, if you're a bad guy, so to speak, that you kind of know that that's where the money is, and you know that's where the packages are and the valuables and the Christmas presents. You know that this is where people are retrieving those items, so it's a little more convenient. Whereas if you're in a neighborhood and what we call car clottings, or breaking into cars, it's random. You're not exactly sure, and it's dumb luck sometimes if you come across a good car with a lot of valuables in it. So sometimes they're wasting some of their time too.
All right, let's talk about if someone steals your name or your identity, your credit card. What's the first thing you do? It's such a frantic time.
Well, if someone steals your credit card number and you still have your credit card in your possession, or if someone's using your name or social security number, that's identity theft, obviously. What we recommend is that you gather as much information about any kind of account that might have been opened, or any kind of orders that were placed, any statements or invoices that you have. You need to gather them, because we're going to need those. Any information regarding the purchase, such as if they used your debit card or credit card number and they had purchased something online, and it was sent out of state or sent to a different location, that if we can obtain that address. And any kind of information that the victim can give us, so that we can do the follow-up investigation at that point. They need to call the police department with where they reside, with where they're a resident. So in other words, if you discover that someone has used your credit card, you don't know how or why because it's still in your pocket, then they're using it in California, let's say, we're not going to expect you to fly to California to make a police report, obviously. You're a resident of St. Louis County, so St. Louis County Police will respond and take a police report for you. Then we'll reach out to the other agencies for assistance with the investigation.
As the times change and with the change of the seasons, do you see things like the personal identity theft increase at different times of the year?
Absolutely.
Or is it one of those things that are constantly on the rise with the way the world is today?
Well, it is constantly on the rise, but we do have busier months than others. For example, in April, when people are filing their income tax returns and find out that someone has used their identity. So obviously that goes up in April. Was it happening in April? No, it was happening back in January and February. They just didn't discover it until that time. So that's why we recommend everyone once a year do a credit report on themselves.
That was going to be my next question. How do you even prevent something like that? How can you be proactive rather than reactive? Because most of the times when you find out, it's already done. It's too late. It's been used, and you don't know how many times. You
can actually, through the annualcreditreport.com, put an alert on your credit so that they notify you anytime any of your information is used. So I believe you could do it up for 7 years, and then you just keep redoing it. So it starts at a 7-year window. So that definitely sometimes is an inconvenience for people. If you walk into Sears and you want to purchase a new refrigerator, and there's going to have to be a process versus that quick instant credit that you might be used to getting, because they're going to verify who you are first.
As we shift gears a little bit and talk about the winter weather, if it ever gets here this year, and people starting their cars, leaving them run in the driveway, again, a simple thing, it's a no-no. Your advice, you probably see this every day.
We see it every day, and you're correct. We see it more often when it's getting colder, and as the weather tends to get, frost on the vehicles, and that our thefts of vehicles are starting to go up, with people leaving their keys running, the key in the car and the car running just to warm the car up. So my advice to that is don't do that. once you've placed your key in the car and started it up, you've not only given the thief the opportunity to take your car,